Okay, this is going to be a really quick video related to some comments I had after I graded the class's Program 8 program submissions. So first, some of the things that I found that were wrong is people have seemed to stop, at least some, putting descriptions in the header of their main program. Or they put a header that says something like, this is program 8. Well, you really need to put something, at least a sentence or two, that this is program 8, this is what problem I'm trying to solve, or what the program does. Still have some students who are not putting their test cases in the correct order. So please follow the directions and make sure you've included everything you're supposed to include. And if I specified an order, that the items are in that order so that I can go through and grade them. Some of these assignments, for various reasons, I give you specifics, including the name of functions, and some people are changing those. And part of learning to program is programming to specifications, which means, doing what is outlined to you. And then part of the reason that this causes a problem is because of the way I grade some of these programming assignments programmatically. And I'm trying to use, for example, your module with my main program. And if the names don't match up, then I get errors, and it makes it difficult to verify that your program is working correctly. Another thing that we talked about on multiple occasions is the fact that Unix and Linux and Python, sorry for the typo there, Python is case sensitive. For example, all lowercase banking.py is not the same file as banking.py with a capital B. Again, this factors into following specifications and allowing me to easily grade or programmatically grade your assignments. Most of these, I tell you that you need to have however many test cases you need to verify on your own that your program is working correctly. I've had students include no test cases, or miss test cases. For example, in the Python dictionary database program, one of your test cases should have been type in the name of a file that doesn't exist, and make sure your program says, do you want to create it or not, and then does the appropriate thing. So make sure you have adequate test cases. Another thing is, I think most students have gotten pretty good about formatting their output nicely, but they're not nicely formatting their main program. And one of the things that I've noticed when I'm grading, it makes it a little harder to grade, is if you cram all of your lines together, it's not as readable as if you took a few blank lines and placed them in appropriate places and kind of spaced your code out. Kind of already mentioned this. It's related to coding to specifications. Another issue I had was a student or two changed the number of arguments or return values, or rearrange them in a different order than what I specified. And again, that causes program issues when I try to run that with my main program. Another thing that you should be doing that is considered good documentation is you should be using doc strings. Some people like to call those multi-string comments, but they're the things that start with 3 quotes and end with 3 quotes. And if you have doc strings right after your function declaration or your class declaration, it will use that as self-contained documentation. So in addition to documenting for somebody that's looking at the code, it can also be pulled out and with the help system and displayed nicely and give information to a user about your classes or your methods in modules and that type of thing. Okay, a couple occasions I mentioned grading these programmatically. So this is very similar to a previous programming assignment, but what I did was I created my solution. So that would be my program8.py and my banking.py module. So I create those, make sure they're working, and then what I do is I create quote known good output. So I ran my program, which creates a bunch of objects and interacts with those objects. The different types of, account, savings account, checking account. I add interest, I do transactions, just an assortment of things. And then I run that program and send its output to good output 1 in this case. So that's the known good output from my program with my module. Then what I do is at the top of my, another typo, program8.py, is I import the sys module. I remove the location that contains my module so it doesn't find my module, and then I use sys.path.append to append the directory where the student whose assignment I'm grading placed their banking.py module, and it uses their banking module with my main program. I then have a shell script that I wrote that just is kind of verbose. It says, hey, I'm getting ready to test some transactions. I run my program 8, which is going to use your banking.py module, and then I output to a file called output1, and then I compare your output with my known good output with the diff command that's shown there at the bottom. So when I run this, if you followed the specifications and did everything right, this is what the output should look like. It should say, I'm testing the transactions. Here is the difference. There is no difference, which means your module banking.py module is working correctly. So that is the goal. If I get some output, something went wrong, and I have to go back and look at that and potentially decide how many points I'm going to take off for something that was not coded correctly. So that's just some comments I had related to grading program 8.